So like you put them both in your mouth and then you curl your tongue back and you're whistling through the You load up your favourite game streaming service and scroll through the popular games. There's something about fork knives, this Lake of Legends game, and oh, what's this? Sea of Thieves? What are you doing here?
And suddenly everyone is a pirate again, and there's this faint smell of questionable grog in the air. Your hands are grimy from carrying chests, and your socks are stiff from, well, probably the salty sea.
We've pulled together clips from our adventures across the 7 seas, including our mixer streams, trailers, and even my own hijinks in the game.
Anything take your fancy?
If you haven't checked it out in a while, let Xbox On navigate you through these rough waters and show you why everything's a bit more fun in 2019 when you be more pirate.
Yeah.
You came here for something new.
The thing with Sea of Thieves is that, yeah, loot is cool, but you don't really remember selling all those captain's chests as much as you remember the adventure you went on to get them.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Counting your gold like the filthy sea smaug you really are can be pretty nice, but it feels all that more satisfying when you went through hell and back to get the precious cargo safely to the outpost.
It's all in the story that you and your merry band make that you can chat about later in the tavern, and that's why I love playing. You get all the tools for your adventure and you're off to ignore the instructions and build a cabin bed instead of that boring Billy Buck case. By which I mean you can go out there and do whatever the heck you want.
As long as your crew has an adventurous spirit and time to get immersed, the world is your oyster. Since launch, there are even more ways to craft yourself a bespoke pirate experience, and they haven't finished yet. There are lots of new additions like the Forsaken Shores and the Megalodon to keep you occupied, but we'll talk about those in a bit.
The life of a pirate is fraught with danger.
Cannonballs are great, but what if you want something even more mischievous? Trading blows with other players is part of the fun, and now it's even more interesting with the addition of cursed cannonballs.
You can pick these up around the islands in various barrels, and there are a lot of different kinds, like one that forces the anchor down, or stops you from steering, or forces you to dance, which I definitely don't want to do again. Or applies a damage over time debuff. They're rare, but not super rare, and you can store them along with your other cannonballs and preload them when you see players steaming towards you to steal your loot.
If you enjoy the shanties but your team needs a new instrument, you can check out the drum, a brand new musical option in your inventory.
There's a megaphone that lets you broadcast your voice in an amplified direction too, for those who are feeling a bit cheeky.
Oi, oi, mate! Cursed mermaids are hanging out in the shallows, requiring some team shooting to destroy them before they relinquish a gem you sell to any vendor to help boost your rep significantly.
Grab yourself a rowboat found hanging around on islands. You can push them to the shoreline and hoist them onto your boat, where they can be filled up with chests or loot for an easy sell once you hit an outpost.
These are especially helpful for some of the new merchant quests that require you to deliver goods that you can't get wet.
These are just a few of the new items recently added, and they certainly won't be the last. They make every encounter very unique.
Most would tell you that these are just stories, but I know difference.
You've got a brand new ship you can sail. Maybe the sloop is a little bit small, but the galleon's a bit too hefty and you want something a little bit in between. Try out the brigantine.
It's got all the girth of the galleon with the depth of a sloop, and I'm beginning to sound like a Tinder wish list.
You have 2 cannons either side and 2 decks, so everything is quite close to hand. There are only 2 sails, so it's basically the perfect size for a team of 3.
The benefit of the brigantine is you can get to all those holes sinking your ship and your map a lot faster than on the galleon. The anchor comes up faster, you can change the sails quicker. It's all just a bit more convenient.
The spirit of competition runs through your veins.
The Forsaken Shores update dropped in September and brought Devil's Roar along with it. Stop roaring. A land in the bottom right of the map that, as the name suggests, provides a lot of the Forsaken experiences.
Volcanoes spew lava and explode with chunks of rock flying miles away to hit your ship. Earthquakes cause geysers to erupt and fling you into the air with an abrupt, very painful landing.
Once those volcanoes erupt, the water around the island gets boiling hot and hurts you, so you can't stay in for long or you risk dying a lobster death. And when it volleys those rocks into your ship and fills you with holes, the boiling water seeps in and stops you from grabbing planks from the barrel, galleons definitely have it easier here. I'm not really selling this, am I?
No.
Stick in a galleon.
Stay in there. The thing with the Devil's Roar is the rewards are really, really good. And if you've played Sea of Thieves already, you'll know that the higher the risk, the better the story is at the end of it.
Those ashen chests, skulls, and more sell for a lot more than regular loot, and you'll certainly have a memorable time no matter what happens out there.
If you don't fancy checking out these riskier areas, you can still get some great stuff by completing skull forts out in the wild. Point your ship towards the flashing cloud skull in the sky until you reach one of the stronghold points.
Kill all the skeletons in waves until the boss appears. Take the key and avail the island of all its precious sellable gubbins. Sometimes you'll even find ashen chests in the fort too, which give a nice gold boost.
Skull forts feature loads of different skeleton types and they're random with each encounter. They're a great way to consistently grab goodies and have some shenanigans.
All these additions just give you more and more things to do while you're playing, so every voyage is special. Yay!
You needn't cower in the doorway. I actually like meeting new people.
Player ships are a pain, but often the seas ahead of you are clear and you're on a nice voyage, counting your bananas and you're like, maybe this is a bit too calm. Since Sea of Thieves released, we've seen a few more wild encounters added to spice things up.
You can come across random storms, krakens, various megalodons, and skeleton crews, and they all have different ways of providing you with a holy moments. No, I said no. Stop beeping me out, I said holy Why are you holy ship?
Benny. Off in the distance, you see a galleon, but actually, it isn't a galleon. It's all creepy with green lanterns and it's crewed by lots of bony boys. Skeleton crews roam the seas and will attack you if you sail too close, and if you're really unlucky, they'll rise from the depths when you think you're safe and pelt you with cursed cannonballs.
I'm not unlucky, but you need to sink them before they sink you, and you can be smart about it. They can't bail water from their ship, but they can patch holes. And speaking of filthy sea smell, the Kraken is as prevalent and tentacly as ever. But now it drops loot if you're savvy enough to escape.
The encounter has changed a little bit. While you're sailing, the sea will darken and everything gets a bit more sinister until tentacles rise from the depths and hiss at you menacingly.
You've got to repair your ship, avoid being sucked into the mouths of the limbs, and shoot everything you have at every appendage until it leaves you alone.
The Kraken has new attacks since launch, like the lovely Hug of Death. The loot can be pretty decent, but it's hit or miss. The main thing is there's no escape. You can't sail away until the Kraken dies or your boat succumbs to the depths.
And now I hear whispers from across the waves of ships disappearing without a trace. Sightings of something impossible.
Alongside everything else that's been added, you now have even more ways to decide your own piratey fate.
Sometimes I meet crews out at sea that are actually quite nice, but you can never be too sure.
They might turn around and backstab you once you've got the loot they want. You can form an alliance with other ships, and once the alliance is active, any loot either of you sells will benefit the other crews as well.
If you sell a chest for 1,500 gold, alliance members will get around 750 gold each too for just being part of the alliance.
With higher risk areas, there come higher rewards, like the creme de la creme, the pièce de résistance, Athena's chests.
If you want to find the best and worst of the pirate legends, scouring Devil's Roar is your best bet. Lots of sneaky tactics are employed out on the volcanic shores, from sleeping in nooks and crannies on enemy ships to hiding at nearby outposts, waiting to ambush.
Some people prefer other crews to do the hard work for them before stealing the reward. Benny would never do that. Definitely not.
Never. You'll need a sharp eye and some good teamwork, but luckily, these encounters are few and far between. For now.
That's one of the risks. Nothing to do except, get out there and be an even better pirate.
Yeah.
The conversation with my friend here has reached a bit of an impasse. I think he just needs a moment to cool off.
Sea of Thieves has one mode at the moment, the PvE-VP hybrid, pitting you against other players and PvE encounters alike.
You sail the seas never quite knowing where you'll end up or why.
But coming soon, there will be a brand new game mode known as the Arena. It's a scaled down mode involving a small map with lots of enemy players for your crew to really test their skill against in a race to find and sell treasure.
There'll be a new tavern area and the brand new Sea Dogs trading company, alongside new goals, rewards, and opportunities to get to the ultimate goal of Pirate Legend.
This will exist alongside the traditional adventure mode and might be a nice departure from the usual questing. Rare are also testing a new option for Xbox players who play on controller to choose whether they play alongside keyboard and mouse users or just with other controllers.
In modes like the Arena, where the focus is player versus player interactions, this might help the fights feel a bit fairer, and Rare promise they're taking steps to make sure all server options will be well populated.
Sounds like a good time to jump in and polish up that Eye of Reach.
Together, compete for glory!
There are a ton more cosmetics in the game now, and a lot of them are really freaking cool, like the Kraken collection, where you can have a matching set of gear across everything you own, with some really badass themes.
Bony peg legs, fire touch coats, awesome snipers. There's a whole lot more to work towards.
Cosmetics don't stop at your pirate either. There are tons of ways to customize your ship now too. New cannons, sail designs, and more, as well as interchangeable crow's nest flags, so you can really broadcast your intent across the seas.
Vendors will sell different pieces from each collection, so you've really got to travel around to finish a set. Better get going.
Now, did I ever tell you about a vicious parrot that stole my eye?
It's one of those games that will never really be finished. It's a work in progress that has the potential to evolve over time. If you stopped playing shortly after launch, you might be pleasantly surprised if you jumped back in now, as there have been 4 significant game content updates and loads of patches within those to improve your experience.
With Arena being added soon and new content always in the works, it's one of those games that's definitely worth coming back to, just to scratch that itch.
Oh!
You just wanted to know how much it was worth, didn't you?
So I think that pretty much explains why people are enjoying Sea of Thieves so much more recently and why you might have been hearing about it so often.
All these things come together to make more opportunities for shenanigans that are both fun to experience and watch in equal amounts.
Not only that, but Sea of Thieves still looks phenomenal. Really have to admire the way the sea, water effects and sunsets look on the Xbox One X.
If you don't fancy buying the full game right now, but you still want to give it a go, don't forget you can play the full game as long as you have an active Xbox Game Pass subscription. You can get your first month sub with 90% off currently and get access to over 100 other games and first-party titles like Forza Horizon 4 and Crackdown 3 on day of release.
You can catch Xbox On playing over on our Mixer channel at mixer.com/Xbox On. And don't forget to join our community Discord and share your adventures there. There'll be a link down in the description if you want to check it out.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.